Okay, chapter 3, and not called The Third Secret. Rather, this is Solace Court. Okay. Sun Court, I guess? I was having a strange dream again. In the dream, I was standing in my bedroom, but everything was strange. Like I was looking at the world through the wrong end of a dusty telescope. I watched myself leave the room and steal quietly down the dark hall. Oh, I hate out-of-body dreams. I could feel the carpet. I could hear the ticking of the downstairs clock. But my legs wouldn't listen to me when I told them to stop, as if I was just a passenger in a body someone else controlled. I was muttering in a strange, raspy voice. A voice that was mine but didn't sound like me. It wasn't until I reached the bottom of the stairs in the kitchen that I jolted fully awake. I was standing barefoot at the bottom of the stairs, shivering in the cold and staring at the light above the stove. You know, you should really tell somebody in the club about these experiences. They might be like, ah, you're a badoop-a-doop. Anxiety settled in the pit of my stomach as my mind caught up with the situation. Sleepwalking. Why am I doing this again? I'd been able to wake up before getting outside, but I was pretty sure that's where I'd been headed. The sound of a creaky floorboard upstairs made me pad to the sink to get a glass of water. Spencer. It had to be Spencer. His was the only other bedroom upstairs. Mom and Dad were downstairs at the other end of the house. Why is he so hyper-alert all the time? If he came down, it would be the second time he caught me roaming around the house at night, and I didn't want to deal with him interrogating me over it again. I kept a watch on the door as I sipped the water. But he never materialized, so I set the glass down and went back to my room. For the rest of the night, I stayed huddled in my bed, afraid to fall asleep again. It was the third time I was doing this since we moved back. Once might have been a fluke. Twice could be written off as stress or something. 3 times was definitely an issue. And it was one I wasn't sure how to deal with on my own. So don't! You have a whole club! Hey. Morning was painfully slow to arrive. I had dozed off at some point, in spite of myself, and woke to the sound of Mom telling me I was going to be late. Somehow I managed to crawl out of bed. I dragged through getting ready and stumbled downstairs for coffee, still half asleep. No one was in the kitchen, so I immediately poured myself coffee and ignored the plate of egg toast on the table. I took one swallow and set the mug on the counter, leaning my head against the cool cabinet door. Hey, buddy. As I stared blankly in front of me, the brownie toddled down the stairs, dragging something with it. What did you steal from Spencer this time? You do this every day. I admire the commitment. I heard the familiar clinking together of keys. What's it doing now? Must be hiding the keys again. It was still angry at Spencer, for whatever reason. At least it was just the keys this time, unless it already finished hiding his homework. Or dropping his toothbrush in the toilet like it had the other day. Ew. I may have laughed at that one. Of course Spencer blamed me, though. I closed my eyes and let out a long sigh. Maybe I should go stop it. Dot dot dots. It's amazing how you can sleep standing up. I jolted awake and stared at Spencer blearily. Rough night. Yeah, I guess so. Seen the keys this morning? No. Wait, why do I feel like maybe I did see them somewhere? Did you forget? Girl. They're not where I left them, or in any of the usual spots. Does that mean she did try to stop the brownie, and the brownie's like, giving you amnesia, man? That's totally what happened, because she had just got her coffee, and now it's cold. Brownie! Help me, man. Help me help you. Help my brother. I picked up my coffee and took a sip, making a face when I realized it was cold. Why is he bothering me about this again? I don't know where his stupid keys are. You seem to be getting more and more creative where you're leaving them. Or you're getting more creative where you're hiding them. I glared at him. It was the same thing every morning lately. I was already tired of this conversation. It wasn't like I could tell him that our household spirit was hiding them, so I just bit out an equally stupid accusation. I have another thought. Maybe you're losing them on purpose because you have nothing else to accuse me of. I don't have a reason to pull something like that. Neither do I! I slammed the coffee mug down on the counter, ignoring the coffee that sloshed over my hand. Spencer took a step back, eyes wide. Oh no, I've angered the sister. I rubbed at my head. I am so not in the mood for this. Nora, honey, what's going on? Why are you shouting? Nothing. I'm leaving. I stormed outside just as Allie drove up. Stalking to her car, I yanked the door open and flopped down without a word. Whoa, you look... I glared at her. I was going to say tired. Sorry. Rough night. Just ignore me. I'm not in a great mood. Everything okay? No, it wasn't. So you should tell her what's been happening right now. I was trying to sleepwalk my way into hypothermia or another 10-day disappearance, and my brother kept accusing me of stealing his damn car keys because the stupid gross little fairy that lived in our house was bullying him. He's not gross, he's cute. Even though he gave us amnesia. It wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. I didn't know what to tell her. She had enough on her plate with her internship at that paranormal agency without my dumping my problems on her as well. Nora? It's... nothing. Sorry. I just had a weird dream and didn't sleep well, that's all. I couldn't bother her with it yet. Not until I knew more about what was happening. You will not learn what is happening until you tell someone. Lady. Lady. I opened my locker door and sighed. I'd been neglecting my research the past few days, but it was becoming clear that I couldn't afford to do that. There was still so much I didn't know, including things about myself. I pulled out my journal and flipped through the pages. It was too empty. I had to stop slacking off and focus on actually learning what the heck was going on with me. And more than that, I needed to record all the weird things happening too. The sleepwalking, the things I was seeing. I wanted to keep a record of those as well. I rested a hand on one page, tracing my fingers over the swirling symbols. This writing. I hadn't used it in so long. It was honestly surprising I still remembered it, especially since Spencer had already forgotten. Of course, the fact that he'd forgotten was what made it safe to keep my notes and research in. But even now, it made me sad to think he'd forgotten something we'd put so much work into. Something that had been just for the two of us. Prickles rose back of my neck, and right as I was about to turn around... Nora! I heard the familiar voice. And there was Corvin barreling toward me at breakneck speed. I managed to step out of the way at the last minute, and he slammed into my locker door instead of me. Dude, your depth perception. That was mean. Sorry. I sensed approaching danger and moved without thinking. I'm not dangerous, you know. Good morning. He gave me a long, serious look. You okay? Yeah, why? Nothing has happened recently. Not really. And again I ask, why? No reason. Just wanted to check up on you. I'm fine, but what about you? What happened to your face this time? He reached up to touch the bruise on his jaw thoughtfully. This? I ran into a door. With your chin? Usually it was the girl that was the clumsy one who needed protecting. But Corvin really needed someone to lock him in a tower of bubble wrap for his own safety.
Anyway, sorry to bother you so early in the morning, but I was wondering if you wanted to have lunch with me today.
I immediately thought about his huge crowd. And Kara. Who cares about any of that? Of course. Of course I'll have lunch with you, but I don't really like crowds. There was also the Kara thing. Why won't you just eat lunch? But I didn't know how to broach it. She also seemed a bit protective of Corvin, if I was reading her right. And I suspected I was. I didn't think having lunch with him would end well, but I really didn't have a problem doing it.
Ali has mentioned that, but where I'm eating today won't have a huge crowd. Not a lot of people know about this particular spot, actually.
Are you taking me somewhere magical through the clubroom door? Oh? Where are you having lunch today?
You'll find out for yourself if you say yes.
I smirked at him. I could probably twist your arm and get it out of you, too. That blush. I guess he's into it.
You could.
He offered me his arm in a really cheeky grin.
Would you like to try it now, then?
What was with that creepy expression? He was flirting. No, I wouldn't. What kind of person looked that happy about having his arm twisted? A masochist. I'll just eat lunch with you and find out that way.
Aww.
That's what you originally wanted anyway.
If you keep having such cute reactions, I won't be able to stop myself from teasing you.
He flicked my forehead, then danced away from me when I started to retaliate. Stop flicking! Why does everyone flick at my forehead?
It's a date, then.
Did you really have to shout that? There were a few other people in the hall, all of whom looked over when he said that. Well, that's gonna spread like wildfire. Like I needed more rumors about me going around. Sure, a date. He ran off, and I just watched him go, wondering how it happened that we started spending so much time together. Well, you see, it all started with you reading the book Wizards and Witches. After we parted ways, I went to literature, where we were continuing our reading of Shakespeare. It was nice how that class was something of an oasis of normalcy and low stress. Especially since my next two classes were my least favorite subjects, and were shared with some of my least favorite people. By the time Trig rolled around, my sleepless night was definitely catching up to me. I slid into my desk with a quiet sigh, not looking forward to an hour of triangle anatomy. I was gonna say autonomy. I lowered my head to my desk, closed my eyes, and waited for the tardy bell to signify my brain's impending doom. Mere seconds later, someone's freezing fingertip jabbed playfully into my cheek.
Sleepyhead. It's still morning and you're already taking a nap.
Corvin, stop poking me. I opened my eyes. Corvin's face was inches away from my own, and he was giving me a cheeky smile. I stopped myself before I could yell at him for invading my personal space. Again.
Did I wake you up?
That would happen when you put a freezing cold fingertip to my face, yes. I wasn't sleeping.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure I wasn't sleeping.
Cor, stop badgering people.
I'm not badgering. I was saying hello.
By poking me?
I wasn't aware you two even knew each other.
Well, we are in the same club.
Yup, we're club buddies.
What is a club buddy? Sure, that's totally what we are. Yes, that's what we are. Club buddies? Really? Good grief. What even is that? Your buddies that are in a club? Club buddies.
You don't sound like you mean that.
Oh no, I was being totally sincere.
You sound like the opposite of sincere right now.
It's your imagination.
I don't think so.
Whoa! You can think?
That's mean. You're mean.
You're an easy target. Besides, it's revenge for poking me.
I was saying hi.
You were poking me!
Well, I thought you fell asleep.
Uh-huh. Well, now you know what happens when you wake me up.
You said you weren't sleeping.
I just laughed. He was suddenly reaching for my head and then smoothing my hair. Thanks?
It's a bit messed up.
I sputtered indignantly, pushing his hand away.
You two are pretty close, huh?
Not really.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Don't look at me like that.
Your face is really red.
It is.
He leaned down to get a better look. So you're not helping. Gah! I put up my hands to hold him at bay.
Oh, I was just...
Don't bite me! He peeled my hands away.
I didn't. You shoved your hand in my mouth.
No, I didn't!
Interesting.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. Interesting. Taking notes.
Okay, everyone, take your seats, please.
Corvin shot me a winking grin as he relocated to his own desk a row away. Thanks for interrupting my nap. Spencer sat right behind him, and I caught a glimpse of him staring at me, but did my best to ignore him. I don't need you judging my boyfriends now, Spencer, thank you. And not feel guilty. I'd snapped at him that morning, but that wasn't my problem. I was sick of his accusations. I had enough on my plate without having to deal with him.
Everyone, take out your books. We'll be starting on a new topic today.
Corvin's hand suddenly shot up.
Sir, may I be excused?
Mr. Ferretti sighed and gave him a long, pained look. You're sensing something, I take it?
Corvin, our lesson hasn't even started yet. What is it now?
It's just... my stomach suddenly really hurts.
But he was fine a minute ago.
Again.
You know how it is.
Mr. Ferretti just turned away and started writing on board with a sigh.
Make it quick.
I watched Corvin dart out of the classroom like he was being chased by something. It felt like the teachers didn't even bother to argue with him anymore. Maybe they were used to him leaving abruptly. I couldn't help but wonder if it was something club-related again. Another possession? It would be scary if that kind of thing happened so often, though. I didn't want to think about it. Maybe I should try to follow him. I highly doubted his leaving had anything to do with his stomach. But I didn't think the teacher would be as lenient with me. Plus, there was Spencer to deal with. I sank into my seat opening my book. I'd just ask Corvin about it later. Probably the wise decision. By the time lunch rolled around, I was definitely ready to give my brain a break. The science-math tag team combo was wreaking havoc on me for sure. I wandered toward the cafeteria idly. It wasn't until I walked in the door that I realized Corvin and I had never talked about where to meet. Right. That probably would have been a good thing to ask. I should have asked him during trig, but it just hadn't occurred to me. We were too busy flirting. He was nowhere to be seen, and the usual crowd he was drowning in wasn't there either. I did see some of its regulars, like Luke and Kara. No Corvin, though. I walked back outside and started down the hall. Maybe he wanted to meet at the club room? I paused near an empty classroom near the cafeteria, pondering if I should head that way instead. It did sometimes seem like my life had started to revolve around that place. Then again, maybe I should just wait here until I saw him. If we were both walking around looking for each other, we'd probably never meet up. I lounged in the doorframe, expecting to see him coming down the hall any minute. If not, I guess I could just go up to the club to see if he was there. The rustle of fabric behind me alerted me there was someone there a split second before the hand grabbed me from behind and yanked me through the open door. Hey! A hand slapped over my mouth, muffling my shout. What? Whoever it was spun us around and kicked the door shut behind us, keeping me tight against their body.
Nora, it's just me.
Corvin! I should have known. Elbow him in the gut. Don't be so violent. Just ask him to let go.
I'm so sorry. I can't quite understand you.
He leaned in close, whispering as he spoke.
Were you, by any chance, asking me to let go?
His breath ghosted over my ear in a way that made my face go hot. I wriggled away from him and spun around, glaring. Don't do that! Jeez! What is wrong with you? I tried to brush the feeling of his breath off my ear, to no avail. He gave me the usual cheeky grin.
Sorry.
No, you're not. Don't even try to pretend. You don't look remotely sorry.
I just didn't want anyone to see us. It's hard to sneak away when people are surrounding me, you know. If everyone saw us and wanted to come along, we'd probably have to give up having lunch together today.
Well, I guess that's true. I shoved his arm. You still didn't have to grab me like that.
Yeah, but I've always wanted to try doing that to someone.
Why?
It looked like fun.
Well, let me do it to you next time, see how you like it. I just gripped my head and sighed. I was never going to understand how his brain worked. Where are we even going?
You'll like it.
He pulled me to the back of the classroom toward a supply closet. Yes, lunch in the supply closet, my favorite. Whoa! Where are you taking me?
I said you're going to like it.
I'm not really into hanging out in supply closets with boys. He gave me a disparaging look.
Nora, we've had this discussion. Have a little more faith in me than that.
He grinned mischievously and pulled me closer, staring into my eyes.
If I wanted to take you somewhere secluded to make out, I'd definitely make sure it was more romantic than a supply closet.
I'm gonna hold you to that. My face started burning again. I reached up, pinching his cheeks hard. Nora, you're so violent. What are you even talking about? You're going to do what with me?
Oh!
I let go and continued to glare, trying to ignore how hot my face was getting. He rubbed his cheek, still grinning.
You get embarrassed surprisingly easily for someone so adorably sarcastic all the time.
No, I don't. And I'm not adorable. He laughed again and pulled an old-fashioned silver key out of his pocket. Whoa, fancy key. Is that for the closet? Corvin released my hand and leaned over the doorknob. Is that even going to fit there?
Don't worry, it fits everywhere.
He placed the key inside the keyhole, and to my surprise, he was right. It slipped in like it was made for it. Skeleton key? Skeleton key? Like a magical skeleton key? Corvin twisted the key and pulled the door open easily. And on the other side was... a courtyard?